Hello, loved ones. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Today, we are going to enter the chat for Belle Collective. We're going to review Season 3, Episode 11. And this will also be my season review if I have anything I need to say about prior episodes. But I think I can do it all in this episode. And I will give you a warning. I don't really feel the way that other people feel about Cliff. So with that, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get started. The episode begins with Sogucci meeting with her daughter Dee, and their new baby is so cute. But Dee shares that her and the baby's daddy Zane are taking a break because she doesn't feel as attractive as she generally does. And I think, even though I don't have children, that is very common among most women after they have children. They, really don't feel themselves and they really got to work on getting their body back. So I really enjoyed that just honesty moment because I think it's a moment that other people can relate to. I love what Sogucci told her, which was, hey, don't lose focus of yourself. You've been doing real estate and these other things. So keep on doing the things that you have done within your life. We learned that Sanjay has messaged Dee and she says that she wants to get with her mom, which I guess that means fight Sogucci for fighting Selena, which is Sanjay's mom, and Star and Sky, who we know are Sogucci's stepchildren. And, Dee goes off, I should be the one who wants to put hands on your mom because of what she did to my mom. And Sogucci then expounds on that she pressed charges against Selena because she wanted to give her daughter Dee an example of how you do things the right way and how you don't let other people just kind of run over you. And honestly, I hate that the whole thing happened. I really love Selena. I was a big Dancing Doll fan, totally loved the show, loved the girls on the show, loved Selena on the show. But I would file charges too. I'm not a fighter, so I definitely wouldn't be fighting anyone. So I don't blame Sogucci for pressing charges on Selena. Dee thinks that the girls are jealous because Sogucci is now the person who's getting a little bit of the limelight, but I think that Sogucci is kind of jealous of Selena and the girls because I don't think that she would have called her an extra. To me, I feel like calling her an extra is trying to say you're beneath me or I got something on you now. And I'm not sure what Selena or how the girls treated Sogucci when they were on the show, but I do think that was a disrespectful comment that she could have kept to herself. However, I don't believe that justifies Selena throwing a glass at her or however the altercation happened. But I think that shows Sogucci being more so the petty one. And I don't know, Selena, maybe she should have just let Sogucci, they don't say hi to each other, so let her move on. But I think I had a harder time with that whole interaction because on the week before, they were at Star Sky, get them mixed up, baby shower, and they weren't communicating. And, Sogucci asked for some water, and Selena was really nice to her and stuff like that. So I have a really hard time now seeing them in another setting, and then you can't even say hi. But Selena did tell us before the incident that Sogucci is kind of off and on and she will go walk past her, not speak and stuff. So I guess that is kind of just their dynamics. But I think it's petty, and I think it's, I think it's petty on Sogucci's part. I think you can just say hi. It doesn't really take you all of that. It doesn't seem like there was an overlap in the relationship between JJ, Sogucci, and Selena. And it's my understanding that Selena has her own thing going on and she's engaged to another person. And it looks like her and JJ, they co-parent well. So it sounds like there's a lot of backstory, but it sounds like this pettiness have just been going on even when the girls were younger. But I do agree. I would press charges too if I was Sogucci and I had been attacked by my husband's ex-wife. In the next scene, we see Aikisha and Latrice meet up, and Latrice is kind of skeptical. They're going to do this paint thing at the same event space where they actually had the girls meet up that didn't go really well. And Latrice is kind of skeptical because last time Aikisha invited her somewhere, she kind of tricked her and had like the double date with Sogucci and her husband JJ. But I think Aikisha's main reason for bringing her there was just to try to support her and let her know that she thinks she may be having issues in her marriage and that she is there if she needs her. And I love what Aikisha said is because when we are married, and I am married, that we sometimes need a married person to talk to, because sometimes our single friends are not going to understand kind of like the things that we go through, because your single friends, they don't understand. They'd have left him a long time ago. Yeah, but that does not work in marriage. You can't just leave for every little thing. And some things could be big and you might even stick in it for those too. So I do appreciate Aikisha wanting to be there for Latrice. However, I don't think that Latrice would talk to Aikisha because I don't think that they are friends. And I did see an interview with Aikisha and Crystal XO, and Aikisha indicated that, you know, this is not the group that she would normally hang around with, which means that if they weren't filming this show, then she wouldn't hang around them. And I don't think she did mention that her, Latrice, and Sogucci have been hanging around each other off camera, and which means their little scuffle. She didn't really understand that. But from a show perspective, I don't think that Aikisha would be somebody that I would trust and want to talk to about my marriage if I was Latrice. But I am glad that, you know, as being part of the collective and since they have that bond together, that Aikisha extended herself to Latrice. So I think that was very, very nice of Aikisha. Although if I was Latrice, I wouldn't do it. In the next scene, we see Lateshia and Sogucci. They go on a walk. And the main thing that comes out of this is that Sogucci and JJ are doing a give back in the community, which I love. And I love that it appears that they give a give back every year, and this is just not something that they pitch to production for the show, but they actually do this every year. I'm assuming that they do it through a nonprofit that they own, and they are giving away toiletries and I believe shirts. Last year they gave away like pajamas or t-shirts or different things, but one year they gave away socks. So they give away to the community every year. So I love that they're doing a give back that they actually do in their real lives. And also I love that they showed the flashback pictures to show that this is something that the girls Sanjay, Star, and Sky generally come to. And I just love this whole idea. Also, they talked about their concern about Latrice's marriage and their interaction with one another. And Sogucci indicated that she still believes that Latrice set her up. And I think that is so crazy. That is just, you are not taking accountability for your own actions. And I do not believe Latrice set her up. They were together at other events. They were just together at the event prior. And they both say that they are in the same room together. And when JJ heard about it, he was surprised that they had a scuffle and interaction because they've interacted before. So I don't really know why Sogucci is continuing this beef between them. And that makes me kind of suspect about her and her character, and makes me wonder if she's only doing it for a storyline. In the next scene, we see Cliff and Latrice go out on a date, which was a nice concept when you think about it in the beginning. It's very nice for us as a married couple to kind of go out on a date. And she shares with him that she has signed a contract with Ultra. Now, I didn't understand if she said Ultra she explained it as a company that gets your she's going to get her edge control put in different retailers all over the country. And I thought that was great. So I didn't know if that company finds you places in order to display your product, or if it was Ulta, which is a cosmetic product that does carry edge control and that is already nationwide. So I didn't really get which one she was talking about, but she shares with him that she has signed this contract, and he gets upset. He gets very upset, saying, hey, you didn't tell me that you signed the contract. When did you do it? And she says 2 weeks ago. And honestly, I do not agree with Latrice in this particular setting. I don't understand why she would not share this information with her husband. And his thing is, hey, I could have looked over the contract. Did you have a lawyer to look over the contract? And her thing is that she feels like he does not think that she is smart enough to make the deals herself. But that is really not the way I took it. When they were outside having a discussion about it, he was like, you're gonna do what you're gonna do anyway, but we're a married couple and we are a team, which I look at being married as a team too. And there's not many companies who do things making a unilateral decision. I don't know what her business structure is. If it's a sole proprietorship, maybe she would just be on her own and only make a decision within herself. She could be a limited liability company, and she could be the only shareholder, but a lot of times you put your husband or your spouse on that as well, and then that he would expect to be able to be a part of the decision making. I don't know what he does in his business, can't figure that out yet. And I don't know if he shares what he does with her before he makes a decision. But one reason why I think it's wrong is I just think that you should be open with your husband and your spouse as to what you're doing. And it wouldn't take you 2 weeks to let them know. So if this was something that you were excited about, I don't think it takes 2 weeks in order for you to share it. Another reason that I think that Latrice is wrong, because she said she was wrong. When they were meeting outside, she said, hey, I understand how you feel. If you had done that to me, I would have been upset too. Which means it is something within their relationship that I think that they have agreed about that they would share with one another. And then when he says, hey, you know what, when you get your way, you get your way. We should be a team. You should let me in on these types of things. And then because he's not all happy, because it sounds like you being deceptive, then she sits in the car and cries. I did not feel sorry for Latrice at all. I agree with Cliff. I know everybody says he's toxic and all of this kind of stuff, but I agree with him. Now, the things that I don't agree with him is I agree when he went to MBAR, because evidently they have tracking systems on their phone, each other's phones, and he showed up where she was. I don't agree that, you should just pop up in the blue, but I wouldn't care, because if I'm not doing nothing wrong, then who cares if you pop up on me when I know that you have my location? So I don't know, that's kind of their dynamic within their marriage. I did not like him confronting her outdoors, whether he thought the mics were on or not. I did not like him calling her a Mitch. Shout out to Married at First Sight, because I don't curse. And I did not like him calling her a snake and being all up like in her face at MBAR. I thought that was very wrong. I thought that was very disrespectful. Now, the whole cussing thing, I can't even relate, because I don't cuss, nor does my husband cuss, so he wouldn't curse at me, because we don't do that. And I felt so bad when he called her a snake, because that is exactly what Marie had called her in the last season. So now your husband is repeating what another woman who is against you has said about you. So I felt so sad for Latrice in that moment. Now, I think he was totally wrong. But I also think Latrice was wrong, because I don't think that she should have talked about her husband with her friend, and I don't think that she should allow her friend to talk about her husband. And I definitely don't like that she allowed her friend, which is Joshua, to talk about her husband in his house. And when Joshua and Cliff were going back and forth, in the kitchen, I believe that Latrice should have stood up and, squashed it between the friend and the husband. And it does not look like she takes Cliff's side. Even when they were looking at the new building, her and her friend was in there talking about her husband again, and then he walks in. So I don't think that Latrice is all innocent in here. And I know she says that she wants them to be equal, but I don't know no marriage that is 100% equal. I do believe that the husband is the head of the household, and I think that how they execute that is what's important. And you should not marry, I don't think you should marry a man that you cannot yield to in terms of him leading. Does that mean he makes every decision? Absolutely not, especially in this case, because this deals with her business. But do I think that she should be able to talk to her husband and consult him? I think Cliff is out for her best interest. I think that he wants the best for her company. I don't see him as this big controller. So I don't know what Latrice wants in terms of them being equal. I don't know what that looks like in terms of them, or what is he doing that is making her think that she is not his equal, besides saying the words. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like he wants her to grow, and I don't see what other people see. Now, I will say that the other Belles are really having a push and pull about what's happening in Latrice's marriage. And so if they know something different, I'm just talking about what is on the show. If there's something deeper going on in her relationship and she needs to blink twice and get out of the situation, I would definitely encourage her to do that. But based on what we saw on this show, I do not think that Cliff was in the wrong. I think that it's okay for him to want to see, and it sounds like he wanted to see it, wanted past the lawyer to look out for her best interest so she's not crying later. So I don't think that, I feel like anytime that a man says anything to a woman, well, we are not equal, I don't believe that. It depends on what they say when they say it, And I guess in this, there's been a lot of things said about Cliff. Like, Cliff didn't like the strippers. I don't think my husband would want me around them either. I don't know, because that's not really my thing. If I was in that environment, I probably would have been more like Aikisha looked. I don't know if that's really what she's doing, just kind of in the background, just kind of sitting there. I actually don't have a problem with Cliff calling Glenn. If that's his friend, he want to report to him, go ahead. I do have a problem with Glenn calling Lateshia and then getting upset with her, because he should have checked in with his wife and then say, hey, you know what, Cliff just called me, what's going on, or something like that, instead of calling her, yelling at her about something that another man told you. So I see the relationship as separate. I don't see how Latrice can control Cliff from calling Glenn, who's his friend. I don't see anything like that. Now, the fact that Lateshia went and confronted Cliff, I think that's fine. Hey, don't call my husband and be telling him that I'm doing some crazy stuff, because now you're interfering. I'm going to tell you how I feel about that. But, I think that all of that's convoluted, but that's what happens in a friend group. But I don't think that Cliff is all the way wrong. I think that Latrice does not stand up for him, for her friends, and I think she should have told him. And the thing is I feel like it goes both ways. For those people who watched Love and Marriage Detroit, we know that Russell didn't tell Colby about him going to seminary. I think that's wrong for him. I think it's wrong on both parts, whether the man is doing something and not telling the woman, or the woman is doing something and not telling the man, when you are a husband and wife team. So, it sounds like she went over to her brother's house and was there for some time. I don't think that helps the marriage. So we will see how this pans out as we move forward into the season. Moving forward, we see Lateshia getting interviewed by a news station about her Belle's and Boss's brunch. which I think is wonderful. And I think they also said that she was writing a book, and it's going to be her empowerment brunch of the season, which we've seen her have these empowerment brunches before. And I love this too, because I like things that did not start as a storyline for the show, but it's something that they were already doing. It appears that this is something that she's been doing for the community for a while, and she wants to invite other women to empower them, and I love that. And I love that it's getting media attention, where the newscaster is kind of publicizing it within the community. We then see Marie show up in support of Lateshia, and they begin to talk about the Belles and Bosses, or Boss and Belles brunch. And Lateshia wants Marie to speak on the panel, and she lets her know that Latrice is going to be on the panel too. And I love this, because I like that she kind of knows that there are some tension, but she didn't want to blindside her, so she's not hiding the fact that she wanted both of them to be on the panel. And I will say I agree with her. She says that both of them are 7-figure income women, and it looks like both of them have very different but very successful businesses that would garner 7 figures. I mean, Latrice and her hair collection, she has the vending machines. Now she has this other contract that she's doing. She's getting ready to start a wig line. It looks like she has a walk-in salon where people can come and actually get services in terms of getting their hair done. And then we know Marie, she has her clinic to help people overcome addictions and those types of things. So I can see, compared to like Tambra, who works at a radio station, which is fine, and Sogucci, and I don't know, it looks like she might have a real estate business, her exercise business going on. But out of the Belles, and even Aikisha, she has a business, but it's in another area in terms of a restaurant with her husband. So I think when you're talking about a boss brunch, that Marie and Latrice would be the best two in order to talk about being bosses within the community in terms of the ways that they make their money. So I think that those were great choices, and I am glad that she did not hide the fact that she wanted them both. But Marie is kind of salty about it. She doesn't even want to be on the panel with Latrice. She still feels hurt and mad at Lateshia because Lateshia publicly took Latrice's side. And honestly, I really don't understand what Latrice did to Marie. I mean, I understand that there was somebody that's supposed to tell some dirt to Latrice about Marie. I never understood what the dirt was. I don't know if the person brought back the dirt to the public platform. I don't understand what the situation is. I don't remember, or I don't remember it playing out as to what the negative information the person was supposed to get. Now, I'm not saying that Marie shouldn't be mad at Latrice for even asking someone to get some dirt on her, whatever the dirt may be, but I don't remember what it was. But Marie is upset with Lateshia because she took Latrice's side and she believed that Latrice didn't know them people. And then they kind of go back and forth, and Lateshia, she apologizes and said, I'm sorry, you're right. She did tell a story. She said she didn't know him. We found out later that she did, and I apologize. And after that, Marie is better. She's like, okay, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. And I do agree with Marie that if Lateshia did it publicly, then a public apology is needed. And I love that they just kind of squashed it and said, you know what? This is the last time we are going to deal with this. We're going to consider it water under the bridge. We've taken care of this matter. We can move on. And I love to see, because I think that's what real friends do. They, kind of hash it out, go back and forth. This is what you did. This is what you did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then they move forward. So I love to see when the girls have that real relationship, that real friendship with one another, where they can say, hey, this is what happened. This is how I feel. how can we move on? The other person gives the person what they need and they move on. I do feel that it is really interesting that Lateshia told Marie, hey, I need you to bring it and I need you to be on your best behavior. I mean, if you have to tell an adult you need them to be on your best behavior at a professional event, I don't really care for Marie. I do love her mother's story, and I am so excited that her mother is telling her story on a national platform. I think that is so common, and a lot of things that her mother has said, like, hey, it's up to her in order to want to change. Like, Marie can't do it for her. I think that is so true. Addiction it's hard to watch. It's hard to be a part of the tribe, the family, because it affects the whole family and not just the person. So I do pray for her mom, pray that her mom gets better and wants to get better, and I hope we see that on the show. But you never know, because I have a family member who recently have crossed over to the other side in terms of not being addicted anymore, and just the thing that made them click is just like, really, that's what it was, and so everybody has their own story. But I love that they are, it's sad to watch and you think, oh well, she's putting her mom out there, but I guess the mom is agreeing to it, so but I think it's so common and so real. So I love that part about Marie and in her story, and I just love Princess Zuri. Oh my God, I was a dancing doll fan. I grew up in dance, so anything about dance is just, I love it. So I love when they have the scenes with Princess Zuri. I love that she was in the parade. I thought that was really cool. But so those are the parts of Marie that I enjoy. I do think that she is, I don't know, the whole thing about her and Latrice, just, can you let it go? It's just, and I feel like she moves in and out of it. I feel like Latrice is trying to, I'm not going to say be friends, but be okay when they're in the same spaces. And I feel like Marie is cold and hot. And I don't like that. I do like that she is sharing her journey with lupus, although I haven't had any experience with that. I know that is a very common among a lot of people, and I know Toni Braxton on Braxton Family Values, she shared that journey as well as what people go through when they have lupus. So I do like that story about Marie, but I don't really care for her attitude, and I did not like how she treated Tambra. I thought her going to talk to this man, whoever he was, I thought that was very shady, because you want to tell if Tambra is lying or not. Like, that was too much for me. I thought that was very inappropriate. And my thing is, stick to your own story. Stick to your own story. Why are you butting into someone else's business? And believe me, I feel like we all have them. Not saying that I believe that Tambra is lying about different things, but we have friends who lie. And it is kind of like, what? Really? Did they just say that, But I don't know. I laugh about it, and I have mentioned it to another person. Like, did you, what they said? Like, do you think that's true? But, I let everybody live in their own mind, and it's none of my business. And if it don't affect me, and that's how you live your life. And I don't know, I think it's really a problem with someone, like they can't help it. They literally cannot help but to lie. We've seen it on Married at First Sight, for those who watched that. Mika and her husband, I can't think of his name, but he was a liar. He lied about some crazy things that are discoverable. So that's what's really like, wait, you're lying about that, and we can actually discover it and prove it. But I still don't think that just because she wants to determine if Tambra is a liar or not, I don't think that it was right for her to be going and digging up this or entertaining the guy who contacted the whole cast to out Tambra in their past relationships. I think she should have saw that suspect. But I did like that Marie and Lateshia decided to move on with their differences, and she is going to speak at the Boss and Belle's or Belle's and Bosses brunch. Moving on, we see Latrice meet with her mom. We find out she's been staying at her brother's. She plans to stay there for at least another week, although Cliff is trying to get back with her and make amends. She still feels like she needs to punch it to him and teach him a lesson and stay at her brother's for another week. I do believe that Latrice is an introvert, because she's just like, I left my business and, not left it, but left it for Josh to run, and my brother's never home, so I can just be by myself. And introverts, that's where they get their kind of like, they rejuvenate when they're by themselves. I'm an introvert, so I definitely can relate. She has a discovery that maybe she shouldn't call him Zaddy, because maybe her calling him Zaddy has made him think that she needs a daddy and not a husband. And I agree with that. I don't think that there should have been any reason why she's calling her husband Zaddy, although it works for Dr. Heavenly and her relationship, but that seems like a different dynamic than we have going on here. And another reason why I don't think that Cliff treats Latrice as bad as the other girls think is because her mom is her confidant. And although her mom said, hey, I would have left him, but she says, hey, you know what? I do think that you love Cliff, and I think that Cliff loves you. And, so I think that because of the reaction of the mom, she wasn't just like, you know what, you need to get out, you need to run, because, don't let nobody treat you like that, even though they may not have said what. The mom said, I wouldn't stay in it, but she wasn't forceful about Latrice moving away from the relationship. So I don't know. I don't think that there has been anything that we saw on the screen, although I don't think you should ever cuss at your spouse, man or woman. And I don't think he should have called her names. I don't think he should have called her a snake. I don't agree with that. However, if there's nothing else going on, I would probably stick to it. Stick with marriage and see if I can make it work. And, see if I can redirect him. I think that Cliff can be redirected. I think he does love Latrice. I don't think he wants to control her. I do think he wants her to be successful. And I do think he wants to be included. And I think he wants her to value his opinion. And one thing that Latrice said is she was like, and I want to make sure he knows that I don't need him. Really? You want to make sure that your spouse knows that you don't need them? I don't know. I hope my spouse knows that I need him. I don't know. And, maybe it's semantics, not need, but want. Some people can say it that way. But I feel like when she said, I want to make sure he knows that I don't need him, I looked at that as value. I don't value him. I don't need him. And I feel like everybody needs to feel wanted and valued, in that way, especially your spouse, and that person is supposed to be like really down for you. So I didn't really like that. It really stung for me when she said it. So I hope that it's nothing more going on with their relationship, and I hope that they can kind of come back together and find that balance in terms of what she wants. And I don't know, it sounds like to me she's just putting too much on him, wanting him to say that we're equal. But personally, I feel like we bring different values, different things to the relationship, and it's not going to be a 50-50. We're different people, we're different genders, we're different, we have different strengths, different weaknesses. So I don't really believe in the 50-50. And I don't know, maybe he says things that off camera to make her feel small or less than. And then if he's doing that, then that's not nice. But I'm strictly judging what I see on the screen. I really loved that she was able to talk to her mom, confide in her mom, and that her mom was a listener and, gave her that advice. And I do agree. She should now call him Cliff, her husband, and that could change the dynamics of their relationship. We then move on to the last scene of this particular episode, which was the give back. And the things that we noticed from the give back is that I think it's Star or Sky, one of them, and Sanjay came to the give back. They were cordial, which I think is fine. So Sogucci made a point that she was just going to fall back and not really try to force them to interact with her. I love that the news came and they covered the community service event. We actually just saw a very small cameo of Tambra, who looked like she came on her lunch break because she only had 30 minutes to donate. So I'm not sure if she only got 6 episodes for Belle Collective this season, but we saw a very short clip of her, and Aikisha came fashionably late. Her and her, when they came when the event was almost over. But I did like that they were able to help their community. And I love that when Latrice saw the news people, she was like, come on, you talk. This is your event. I did notice when Sogucci hugged Latrice, she was kind of, standoff about it. And I feel like Latrice is trying to move on, but Sogucci is not, which I still think that, again, speaks to her character and, her ability to move past things. And maybe that's why her and Selena, she's looking like the problem in multiple relationships, in my opinion. And if you are the problem in multiple relationships, then you look like the difficult one. So I would encourage her to try to turn that around, because I felt like when Latrice went to kind of embrace her, she kind of gave her like one of the pets. When you saw her give another young, I think it was Lateshia, she gave her, an embrace. So I did not like that. I think that Sogucci is very petty. But I did like that Latrice called her over, made sure she was the person in the interview speaking, and then stood there with her for support. So I like that. I think Latrice is trying. I like that Latrice kind of deals with her own self and her own drama within her own life, and doesn't really kind of get into the other girls' businesses. We then see Lateshia take Latrice to the side and let her know that she is concerned about her marriage, and they believe that Cliff is disrespecting her in public, and they're wondering if he does that in public, then what goes on in private. And I agree with that. I mean, what you do in public is probably 10 times worse than what you do in private. So I hope that what we're seeing of Cliff on the screen is all there is to it. If Latrice needs to get out, I would encourage her to get out. I probably would not talk to Lateshia. For one thing, you have problems in your own relationship, so you need to deal with that, and you get you and your relationship together. We hear that she tells Marie in the prior scene that her and Glenn is dating again, and they're trying to get their own marriage on track. So if I was Latrice, that wouldn't be the person that I would go to. I do like that Lateshia went to Latrice and said, hey, you know what? We gossiping about you. You are the gossip of the girls, of the Belles. The Belles are gossiping about you, instead of just talking to her behind her back and, saying that she is concerned about her. They do look like they're true friends. And, I don't know. I don't know. I still don't trust Lateshia in this instance, just because of her disdain for Cliff. And, even if when she went to the holiday event, and Latrice and Cliff left as soon as she got there, that's a negative. Maybe she just doesn't want to be in the drama, and she doesn't want her husband to say anything to you, because you've already got on her about her husband calling your husband. You talked about it at the tennis court. Maybe she's just trying to avoid drama. But no matter what she does, they're going to talk about her in terms of her relationship. So for that reason, if I was Latrice, I would not trust Lateshia, even though they are friends. And I think that because Lateshia is having a similar issue in her marriage, she doesn't feel like her husband wants to support her or see her move forward in her journey. and that's why they're having trouble. And we know that there was some type of infidelity because they took the pregnancy test. So you may not be the person that I want to get advice from. But that was this episode and my season review of Belle Collective. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did I miss something? Do you see it differently? Do you think Cliff is toxic? Because a lot of people think he is. Do you think I'm crazy? Am I experiencing trauma from my own life? Let me know what you think in the comment section. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.